I guess I could take like a screenshot of this or something. I will do that.
Correctly.
Well, I'm gonna take a screenshot and share it on like something. So why don't you smile or whatever it is that you do? Okay, but can I get an image? Can you?
Well, it's gonna come up.
Okay. You know what? Count to 5. Maybe smile with less teeth.
When can you do it?
I'm trying to do it now. Just look at the goddamn screen. Stop doing the other thing and look at the screen.
All right, what am I doing?
Just stay where you're at, okay?
Okay.
Got it. Was that so hard? Was that so hard for you?
I don't think you know how to screen shoot.
You know what? We're going to do another one now, just because you talk shit.
I ain't doing shit.
All right, do it again.
I'm going to share this on Twitter. Hold on.
Oh, my God.
I mean X. I apologize, X.
I don't like that it's X.
There's nothing we could do about that.
Can we just get this done? I need like 10 to 15 seconds of you, like just smiling politely. You know what? Fuck it. I'll smile politely and you just do what you do. I don't even care anymore.
I like it. Go ahead.
Piece of shit.
Oh, an image doesn't show up. Unreal.
The way that I hate this man.
Are you starting? Can I do the intro?
Are you going to do it good or are you going to do it all nasally using that voice you were born with?
I haven't done it in a couple years, so like it'd be cool to do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you didn't know, I exist to make you happy, you know?
I like that.
He said that's a nice WWE champion belt, Steve.
Oh yeah, my regular belt's upstairs, so to keep my pants up, I got this bad boy on there. Good luck.
Right? That's just protecting yourself from hernias or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and begin this recording. So...
Good morning and good night. Welcome to the Critical Hits Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Not Here, and with me today is Tino. Tino, how you doing?
I'm having a pretty good day, to be 100% honest with you. It was Pokemon Community Day. So there's like this like little slug, like Goomy Pokemon that is a dragon for some reason. So I went out to Great Park in California and with my buddy Kells and caught some Pokemon. Afterwards, I went to get coffee boba with popping coffee boba. Like
I know what that is.
It was so good. I washed my car. I was supposed to go grocery shopping like an adult. I chose not to, and instead we got ramen with Korean barbecue. Well, it's like Korean fried chicken like style, like in the ramen. But I did
fried chicken in there. That's pretty cool.
Well, I did fried pork today, and I got it as spicy as they could make it. So like every orifice was just like leaking. I was like, this is so good. So I had a wonderful day, as a whole. A good weekend, actually. So
are you still playing Pokemon Go? Like regularly?
Yeah, so I went through like a revisiting phase where I was back on it aggressive for like a year. Now, just like lightly, like when I go outside, I usually do a walk a day. I'll try to crack it open for 10 or 15 minutes. Whatever I catch. And for the community days, I try to get outside and do a little thing or two.
I guess that's cool. I'm playing Monopoly Go, which requires you to do nothing. So that's my new favorite. But as long as somebody's playing a Go, I guess it's okay, right?
Next time I visit home, I'm probably going to put you through a table. And I know that you're not powerful enough to stop me.
Monopoly Go versus Pokemon Go. Let's do it. No, I'm losing weight.
I don't even want to play Monopoly. Here's the thing.
Dude, it's fun. It is fun.
Sometimes it's not. But I do want to get a Monopoly set that's like a Dragon Ball Z set or something like fun. You know what I mean?
That is cool. I see they got a Digimon set, which you might like. But Monopoly Go isn't like... It's hard to explain. You just got to try it. You'll be hooked on it.
I'm not. I don't need another addiction. Like I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah. Speaking of addictions, you had a good weekend this weekend.
With
all the sloppy texts you were sending us, the podcast chat.
Yeah, I was definitely in the chat, just like. Right. Yeah. So I don't. It's a little bit. Of like what this show is called. It's like sort of finding its its grounding, and this weekend, I went out. For once, I actually kind of want to get into more detail, but for the people that are here, for the sake of today's episode, we're talking a little bit about like drinking and how that mixes in with like, you know, being a gamer a little bit. You know, we're sort of talking about like drinking games. Do we still do them? You know, does drinking still have a place at the table? Of course, we're talking about casual drinking, not like sloppiness and like whatever else like comes along with that. Maybe we're two bros talking about what we like to drink more than the other. You know, I don't know. But we can definitely go down memory lane on a couple of things.
There you go. And I came up with the idea because you were gone this weekend. You were sending misspelled texts like, you know, like you were me. But I knew what you were doing because I know what happens when the phones don't treat you right.
Auto
when
text
they just abandon you. They don't work with you no more.
Yeah, I mean, so, and I don't normally like drink that much. I just needed to have a weekend where like life has been hitting me pretty hard. Critical hits, like looming above my head. You know, I've definitely had some things, and like the thing is like I don't turn to alcohol as like a crutch. You know, I'm definitely a casual drinker after the end of a long day. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, I don't even like alcohol. Like, no, there is alcohol. I like to have some.
Don't apologize. Are you apologizing for it?
No, what I'm saying is that like even though I enjoy alcohol, I don't like the feeling of being drunk. I hate being drunk. Like the second like I start to be like, that's a little bit, I'm like, dude, run the water, we're done. Yeah, oh, we got a raid coming through. All right, so that'll just be wrapped up into the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, we are live, by the way.
We are live, doing a live recording for the podcast, but thank you so much for coming through with your community. We appreciate you, myself, Tino Plus Ultra, and this guy from the
Steve not here.
From the Midwest.
I'm wearing the belt.
I don't know if you can be a champion but also have real estate in Indiana. I don't think that those two things can be true.
I got a lot of land in Indiana, so that's pretty good. It's the Midwest. You can say the Midwest.
You're like, my house costs nothing. I'm like, right, but you're in the Midwest, so like, are you even winning? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Where are you from? I'm from Chicago, and then I walk away.
That's me. Except I walked away. That's the difference.
Yeah. You don't like being drunk at all. It's so much fun.
No,
Why would you say that to me?
So when I was younger, I used to party like super aggressively, and maybe there are people in here that can attest. And I'm from the Midwest, which is a place where the drinking age is 21, but everybody starts drinking at about 12.
Yeah.
As an adult, I would never. Dude, I'm going to be on my kids so aggressively. I'm like, no.
Let's go 5 on a bottle. I remember that.
Oh,
that's
my God.
5 on a bottle.
Like out here though, it's so different. Like the kids are so good. Like I'm not saying like they don't get into stuff, but like they get into stuff at like, you know, in the movies, like the age that you expect them to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like out here, I mean, there's 14 and 15-year-olds that like have the same common interests as like 8-year-olds, which is like not even bad. You know, they're just like, I don't know, I just want to ride my scooter and be left alone. And I'm like,
yeah, that's
wow.
Ideal of it.
We were in alleys like sneaking cigarettes in the Midwest. What were we
Straight
even?
Trash.
Yeah, the Midwest is not. That's where you go to die. So I'm Tornado Alley. Like there's a reason. I'm all the way good.
Yeah, I'm getting shot soon. I
just
know it.
But yeah, man. So I don't like getting drunk. Again, a younger me, you know, would go to parties and, you know, like I guess like I thought that was like how alcohol works. I think a lot of young people think that, not all, but a lot. You know, we're like, all right, I'm gonna, you know, do this until I like black out. It's you know, it's hanging out with your peers. It's poor representation in movies from that time frame when we were younger. Like it's a lot of different factors I think that are involved with that. But as an adult, there is no situation where I like even being like the light. Like I like that like a little bit where you kind of feel loose, you feel relaxed. I'm like, all right, cool, and that's it for me.
It sounded like you liked it the other day. It sounded like you were on cloud 9 with that.
So
and let me tell you something.
I'll explain that.
I know a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm wasted. I'm not having a good time. I'm leaving.
That's me.
It just doesn't happen. Like the next day you may not like it because you may not be able to work out or do something or you got a headache. I mean, that's fine. But, you know, life is give and take and there are no free lunches. You got to get wasted to have fun sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, so for me, I actually had this conversation the other day. I forget who I was speaking with, but essentially, I am a very anxious person. I overthink like everything so much, and it's just like this awful thing. And because of that, there's certain things that like I don't like that, you know what I mean? So like recreational, you know, experimental drugs growing up, I was like, oh God, not for me. I've never liked, you know, weed. Like weed has never been my thing. I don't care that it's legal or whatever. Like it doesn't matter. It just doesn't do anything for me because I'm really, really anxious. So when you put me on something like that, my anxiety, they're like, it's going to mellow you out. It skyrockets because I start to lose control of like my body. You know what I mean? Like the way like the way that things touch and feel and that are processed is altered. And when that's altered to a certain extent, I just, you know what I mean? Like my chest starts beating fast and I start like freaking out like all the
You like being in control. That's your thing.
well, I mean, depends who's asking. But oh, that's a good one. That's clippable. But no, so that's funny as hell. You set me up for that, and I'm mad. I'm mad.
Yeah, now you're sexist.
I'm mad. I wasn't saying that. You know what? It depends who's asking and in what context. Can we say that?
There you go.
Can we
there
say?
You go.
Can we say that?
Yeah, now you saved it.
Yeah, control might be the way, buddy.
I'm gonna clip it out, but you saved it.
Okay. So no. When it comes to like alcohol like actually relaxes me as long as it's like up into a certain point. But once you start to get to that like point where, you know, your words could be slurring a little bit, or, you know, you're like in danger of the spins, or, you know, anything remotely close to that, yeah, like I'm out. And to your point, when I was messaging the group chat the other day, so I had a really good time. I went out to kind of like the Chinatown area out here. I've gone there many times during the day. Like I've checked out stores like Gundam stores, and you know, they got like Digimon and all sorts of cool like imported Japanese stuff, like rice cookers. Like, bro, you name it, they got it. It's amazing. And I've always like been really into that district. I honestly want to move closer to there soon, just because I like it so much. But I wanted to check out the nightlife, see what it was like. I looked up like some karaoke bars. I looked up some like Korean, you know, just food places that are open late. I just like let's go, let's have fun. And I got with a small group of people, had a really good time, and I was good. But then they started doing that thing that I don't do, where like the bartender, like I'd become cool with him, and like he was like, "Hey man, I got like a round of shots on, you know, the house," and I'm like, "Oh."
That's how they get you.
I was like, well, we're pushing it to the limit today, buddy. You know, so but I'm excited. I'm having a good time. You know, so I have that, and the next thing you know, 20 minutes later, there's another one, and I'm like, okay. And those things taste good, which, you know, that's the mark of a great bartender. But that doesn't mean that they're not strong as hell. You know, so
you didn't turn down a shot that night, did you?
I did not.
Good man.
But because of that, like I had to wait and chill out before like I felt comfortable again to like go and do stuff.
Yeah.
I'm so happy she came through with that.
If a man turns down a shot, I instantly lose respect for him. Like, you just can't do that. No, it's like,
no.
See, you're big on respect, like we talked about in the last episode, which was great. We talked about fitness and a little bit of trauma. But when I see a guy turn down a shot, I'm like, get him out of here. So, what are you doing here then?
Okay, but like that can be like an extent of like some toxic masculinity type stuff.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that can definitely
I know exactly
be that.
what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
You know, so it's like, well, like, look, so like, if you want to buy a shot for somebody, and like, if the intentions can be totally awesome, you know, like, I get it, like, you know, like, hey, you know, this is for you, like, you know, like, it's a thing, but there's a point, like, so for me, right, like, afterwards, I realized it was hitting kind of hard. At some point, I would have had to been like, hey, like, you know what I mean, I'm good. Just because somebody's going to continue to buy it for me, like, puts me in a vulnerable situation. So what? Because I need to be cool and accept your thing. Like now I'm too drunk to drive.
Well, there's a 1-2 punch rule. You don't got to accept the third shot.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is like, you know, you can be with a group of people. So if person A buys you a shot, and then person B buys a round of shots, and then person you know C, at some point, you know, even if at the beginning you want to, it's okay to be like, yo, this is like my boundary. I'm good. I don't like, you know what I mean? I appreciate it. I appreciate the gesture, but like I'm okay. I'm gonna pass.
I'm going to tell you the rules on that, friend. If you're around a group of people and they're all cool and they all got money and you like them, they're good people. So if they're all buying shots, including you're buying a shot, guess what, friend? You're getting fucked up. You're at a bar. That's just the name of the game.
Yeah, I mean, so a younger me would be like, yeah, for sure. You know,
the game don't change.
No, older me wants to get home alive. So fuck you and your weird toxic masculinity rule. Like
that's just how it works.
If I'm starting to get too drunk, like I don't give a shit that you bought that shot. Like I'd rather be alive and have you think I'm not cool than be like, oh man, a good thing I did that, you know, out in heaven or whatever. I'm like, I mean, I'm here now. I just wait for the squad to come through.
I guess it's gonna be situational. Like all right, Tino already had 3 shots. He says he's gonna drink something else, or he's gonna wait off for a while. Okay, he already drank 3 shots. Leave him alone.
You can say no out the jump though. Like that's pure pressure. Like you're describing pure pressure.
At a bar, you're going at a. I know someone at a bar.
I know people who go to bars that don't drink.
Well,
they go there. They go there to keep their friends company. Sometimes be a D&D. You thank you for that, Mike. To sometimes be a D&D or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
D&D is completely fine.
yeah, but they might go
they're
for
excluded
some
from this
bar food.
conversation.
It might just be good company, and like that's okay. Like, I don't like to pressure somebody who doesn't drink into going to a bar. But there are people that do that. Like, case in point, in the comments right now. But like, again, like, just because you buy that for somebody doesn't mean anything. Like, if anything, if we're really cool, like if like we're really cool and you really have respect for me, one, I should earn your respect more so by being like, hey, I really appreciate the gesture, but like, I'm not really in the mood tonight for that, or I'm kind of at my limit.
But
Whatever.
you're at the bar.
The reason doesn't matter. Just because you feel that way doesn't mean shit to me.
Might as well go to the gym and not work out.
Go get me a wheatgrass shot or some shit. Figure it the fuck out if you actually
what?
respect me. A wheatgrass shot. I said what I said. I'm standing on business.
I never heard of that. What is that? Explain it to me.
Literally, do you want me to?
Oh, it's a green thing. It's a green thing, right?
Can
With the grass.
anybody in the comments want to help this guy out?
The Jamba Juice. You're going to get drinks at a Jamba Juice.
But
I swear.
I know
But
people
you're
that
going
go
to the
in
movies, you're
that-
gonna bring a book. You're at the bar.
That
Unless
sip on
you're
seltzer
D&D.
water. Even if you go though, like, you can have rules for yourself where you're like, hey, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna have a single beer. Like, there's all sorts of things. There's people that have friends that are, still go to bars, and maybe they're recovering alcoholics and they have so much self-control that they can go into a place like that. Sometimes they do it for themselves, just be like, hey, I can go in here and control myself.
You know what? Some girl told me a trick that she has where she gets a beer and she drinks it, but she slips away and she fills the rest of the can with water, so she only had one beer the entire night, and no one knows the difference. I
mean,
don't like it. But,
she should, but my thing is that she shouldn't have to do that.
Oh yeah,
So, like,
when I'm with my boys, there's different rules. Than
wait,
with
pause.
girls.
Are we both wearing Dragon Ball Z attire?
That's all I own.
That's kind of cool. I think I got a little bit more respect for you, But it'd be okay if you didn't want to.
Oh, I was saying, I know people that go to the bar, they get a drink, and then they order a tall glass of water. And then they get another drink, and then they order a tall glass of water.
I'll
and
do
then
that.
Get another drink, and I know you do, and I don't like that.
Well, so the reason for that is you're staying hydrated, and your body's processing the alcohol a little bit slower, so you're not going to be like super dehydrated the next day. You're less likely to get a hangover. That's like an old trick if that's your thing. Now, again, like, I don't want to sit here and go back and forth with you all day on like what's respect and what's not. Like, you are talking to me like I'm talking to a 16-year-old kid who's like, you got to do it, bro. You don't got to do a goddamn thing if you don't want
You got
to.
to do it. Yeah,
you
there
don't.
are rules of places where you go. Yes, there's expectations when you go out.
Then you're not my people. Like, that makes me feel like you're weak because you're giving in to somebody else's expectations personally.
No, it's everyone's expectations.
It's not everyone's. It's not mine.
Bar,
you tell me what my
culture.
First of all, I just told you it was a karaoke bar. So there's a lot of people that go to this place where drinking is an option. It is a thing you can or do or choose to not do. If you want to go in there and you just want to sip on mineral water and sing karaoke and a handful of people to the left decide they're going to get drinks, like, that's okay. So what you need to do as somebody who's, in a drinking environment is be like, hey, I'm going to get around the shots. Everybody good? Or is there anybody, and then that's when that person would speak up and go like, actually, I'm okay. Right? So like now it's like less confrontational. You did your due diligence and they're here to respond. And you don't have to make it weird. You're like, okay, cool. But like, don't be the guy that's like, what do you mean you're okay? Like, don't do that. They said no.
You buy the shots first, and if they're like, hey, I'm cool, then you know they're not cool, and then they're out, and then never buy them anything ever again.
If anybody in the comments wants to chime in, whether who they think is right or wrong, although Mike definitely kind of chimed in on you, he was like, that's fine.
He's probably a D&D, or some people don't like to drink, and they go to the bars. I don't know why they go to the bars then. Why don't their friends go places where they like to go? The park.
So I've only made a couple of friends since living out here, and half of them don't drink at all.
How's the nightlife there? You said you had to go to a place you never been to. How's the nightlife by you?
It was a lot of fun. Like, it was like super relaxed. All the environments that I was checking out were like really, really safe. And I mean, I don't know. I just like, I had a really good, like, healthy time. I made friends with a couple of bartenders. I got a couple of people like, on social media that I added through that I just like met, like, hanging out. The food, oh my God, the food was to die for. It was so good. It was just like fantastic. And
was it bar food?
No. So like, that's the thing is like this particular area that I'm talking about. I mean, and it's almost like a hybrid where it's like fine, like Asian cuisine, but like meets bar food. And I don't know, it just kind of like works, so I'm a pretty big fan of what I was able to try. So like last night I went out, I had what was essentially like a Korean version of like a Nashville like hot chicken sandwich, and it was like the best thing I've ever had.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was like Korean fried chicken style, and it was so good, so good.
Very nice.
Also, well, we can take a second. Good night. Like, thank you again for the raid. We super appreciate you. You may not have known you were jumping into a podcast today, but thank you for sharing your community with us. Normally, I do different types of streaming on this channel. Just, for the record, we do a lot of gaming stuff here. But, if you guys did come in, by all means, consider sticking around, and we super appreciate you as always. So I hope you have a really good night. Stay in touch, and I will try to catch the next stream when I get a chance.
Yeah, friendly reminder, we are live now, so we appreciate everybody stopping by. We appreciate everyone getting the podcast when it comes out, VOD, listen to it any way you guys do. We do appreciate it.
Well, we got somebody wrote right here, said, you berate that person for not drinking. But then they said, just kidding. It's really up to the person. Include them, ask if, ask to make sure, and if not, then move along. Right?
Yeah, and then never ask them again. And then they're not going to have a good time, and then they're going to go home by 9 p.m.
That's you were really good, and you could have you added a comma where there should have been a period.
Get them out of the way so the rest of us can have fun. Good.
See, this is where we move to a secondary location, and you don't get an invite. You're like, where did all my friends go? We're like, ha, ha.
Yeah, where do you guys go to a fucking kale hut or something? Or the Jamba Juice to drink your green grass?
You could try it.
Are kale huts real?
I don't drink. Let me see that. And went to a reggae festival. Went to a reggae festival to a brewery. I drank non-alcoholic drinks. So yeah, like I get that.
Like pop. Is that what he means?
Soda. Why would you call it pop?
What am I supposed to call it? Because I'm from the Midwest. Pop.
Okay, so the full word is soda pop.
Yeah.
So you would think that soda, the first half, is what you would use. Why are we saying pop? I'm from the Midwest, and I've never agreed with that.
I don't know. What did I say? Soda or pop? I think
you said pop, and I don't ever like call people out, but like internally I'm like, ugh, because I'm like I didn't.
Yeah,
like,
I'll say pop. I'm sticking to pop because instinctually that's what I.
You know what? That's not what this podcast is about, and it's okay to be wrong 2 times. It's
all right. So we have different rules, and that's fine. We have different friends. When I get too messed up. I get too messed up, and I start to plan ahead now. I don't drive. I definitely don't think anyone should drive if you have more than a couple drinks. You Uber, you get a D&D, you have someone pick you up, you walk home. Just don't drive, because 100 times, and I forget who said this. I think it was Tim Dillon. If you keep driving drunk, statistically, you're going to get better at it. But it only takes that one time to mess everything up, and it could ruin your life. So.
Well, I mean, and I'm not going to disagree with that. But also, I mean, you guys could do like me. If you're somebody who does want to drink and not be in danger, I will not drink until the point that I am drunk. I'll have like a decent amount, and like I have pretty good tolerance, sure, but like I space them out. I pay attention to myself. I don't let things sneak up on me. And if I do feel a little iffy, I'm like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like we're cutting off. We're gonna wait a little while. Like whatever. But the thing is, like I said this earlier. I personally don't go out a lot. Like I like to stay in and like play my video games. I like to watch my anime. But I enjoy things at the bar. So one thing new that I'm trying this year is I bought like a bunch of things for home. So I've got like a bunch of like simple syrups. I've got like different like mixers and stuff that you can do here. And I've been looking up recipes. And if I'm being honest with you, bro, not only am I mean, one, drinking less because it's like my money, but I'm saving a ton of money. Like so much money. So much money. So you can spend. So for instance, like my favorite drink is a whiskey sour. And if you buy a shaker and everything you need, maybe $45, assuming you already have the shaker, we're looking at probably $32 for everything that you need. Right. And you can make an insane amount of, beverages like whiskey sours with just that recipe alone, to go off of. So for me, it's like kind of fun because I'm developing a new skill. I'm at home. The drinks are much, much better than what you get at the bar. And that was a big thing that I noticed right away. Like once I learned how to do it with like the egg white and all that, and I'm like killing it. I go to the bar, I ask for a whiskey sour, and I'm like, I'm like looking at him. I'm just like, is this a joke? Am I a joke to you?
Dude, a lot of these bartenders are just regular people that needed a job.
Well, it's
Like
not.
they don't.
It's not even their fault. Sometimes. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes it's that the bars are penny pinching, and I get it. Like from a business
Yeah.
perspective, I totally get it. But what I'm telling you is, if you are somebody that likes to, have a good drink, like I'll drink on like an old fashioned, or excuse me, sip on an old fashioned or something. I like to do that at home. I don't like to be drunk. But now I'm saving money. I'm doing it at home. I'm like hanging out. I'm watching Star Wars, and I can be like, okay. And not that I'm going to, because again, I don't like to be drunk. It's not just about safety. It's just I don't like the feeling. I just like a very light buzz. But if I wanted to, I'm in the safety of my home.
Okay.
Exactly where I'm supposed to be, like nice and I'm good. I'm good over here. But for me, with bars, for the reason I probably like going out and like having like a drink or two is really the conversation for me. At Starbucks, maybe some people can. I go to Starbucks a lot, or like another coffee shop. I love coffee,
Right.
but like I never really have a lot of organic conversations because in a coffee shop, people just kind of like, it's like a public place that's meant to kind of keep everything together. You know what I mean? Like it's like going to Target. Like if I'm at Target looking at clothes, I don't expect somebody to come up behind me and be like, hey, look, can I bother you? But in a bar environment, or a brewery or something like that, the chances of kind of bumping shoulders with somebody and kind of jumping into like a really good conversation or meeting somebody new and making a new friend or something, they're a lot higher. So
And you're an extrovert, so it's like I do like how you're forcing yourself to do these conversations now. Like at Starbucks, you're doing it. At the bars, you're doing it. I do like how you're going out there and you're talking to people.
I'm
no matter
trying.
how hard it is, yeah.
You
Because
said extrovert. I think you meant like introvert, but I got you.
you're an introvert.
Yeah.
You're trying extrovert stuff. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I can't drink at home.
Agreed.
Like,
Tinkering, tinkering soul.
I got a rum and coke here, just for the hell of it. But like Kool-Aid tastes better, and like it's just I don't do it at home. I don't like it. But when I go out, I drink as much as possible because my friends do, and that's
Anybody
fun.
watching, I have a yogi relax tea that I made, and I added in some I added in some Hawaiian honey and a pinch of lemon juice.
Hawaiian honey.
It's really
Honey
good.
all the way from Hawaii.
Yes, it was a little bit more expensive. The bottle's smaller, but like you can taste the difference. Those bees hit different, buddy.
Man.
Like, look, I'm a different man these days. I'm not the same guy that I used
I
to be.
hate you.
So
I
that
hate you.
yeah,
I know usually
I'm
that's
not-
your line, but I hate you. Too.
I'm glad. So I'm not drinking tonight. I'm just having some relaxing tea. I actually have a candle. This is mahogany teak wood. If anybody wants to see it, to kind of like get the mood going. Rich mahogany, dark oaks, and frosted lavender. I got this from Bath and Body Works on a sale earlier this week. I know you hate it. That's why I'm saying it.
Disgusting. I know you're getting me good. You're getting me so good.
But that's me. Like, I mean, my environment, like everything is like clean, it's tight, it's organized. I like to feel relaxed, and I'll have my drinks. I enjoy that stuff with like gaming, which I'm not tonight. We're doing a podcast, and I want to be like sound body and mind when it's time to do edits after the show, or if we're talking to somebody in the chat. I don't want to like embarrassingly get on tomorrow. I'm like, oh my god, Tino was kind of hammered and said something sideways to Tinker and Soul or Mike in the chat. Like,
Dude, but I saw videos from Kells of you at that bar, and you were talking to people, and you were just. It looked like the most fun anyone could ever have, and that's because of alcohol, and that's probably because of who you were talking to. But it looked like the most fun anyone can have, and you got completely smashed that night.
I did not get completely smashed, but at the
Dude, you were misspelling way too much.
well,
you were dizzy.
so I wasn't dizzy. But that did have a little bit to do with like those shots that I told you about that like the bartender brought over. And like I thought I was good, and at the time I was, but I had them and they were a little bit stronger than I thought. So by the time the second ones came around, I was like, I'm done. You know what I mean? And then I actually hung around for an extra hour and drank a bunch of water. Like that's what he did film, because that's not cool,
It's all right.
right?
That's all right if you drink water at the end. You put in work. You're a good man. Have some water.
But
go
that's
home.
I'm just saying that's like a rare occurrence for me. You know what I mean? Like there's been times where like I'm at a brewery and like I'll have a beer, like a 16 ounce. It's amazing. We're eating food. We're going there really for dinner. So it's like complimenting, the thing. And then, we'll order another one and like maybe a quarter way or halfway through that beer, I'm like, I'm not going to finish this. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's kind of hitting me. Like I got to drive. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like you just have to make that, informed decision of yourself and just stop.
If you absolutely have to drive, of course it's different. I'm not telling anyone to get smashed. But if you plan your ride home, you're with your friends, and they want to go hard, you're obligated to go hard with them. And if you don't feel like you want to, then, you got rights and, whatever. But you're at a bar.
Let me ask the chat, because I totally disagree. Dear chat, and anybody out there listening,
Dear
okay?
chat.
Like, let's say you're in a position where, you know, you're at home and you can drink as much as you want, right? Like, there's nobody stopping you. You
With
go,
people?
it like whatever. We're not like whatever hypothetical situation Steven has. You're at home and you're gonna do it. Do you A, want to drink to the point where you're loosening up and having a little bit of fun, or B, do you want to be to the point where like you're a prisoner in your own body with the lights off, trying to go to sleep and the room is spinning with your eyes closed? Because that's not a thing that like I ever want to do again. I've done
The spins, those are fun. That's like sleeping in a roller coaster.
That's not fun. That's like a nightmare. Like, you've gone way too far at that point.
Well, if you throw up, you've gone too far.
Sometimes you can't though. Like me, I've got an iron stomach. Like, I don't usually, like, I would have to make myself puke. Something I did when I was younger.
You would purge?
When I was younger, like, I had to do stuff like that. And like, what I'm saying is like being in those situations irresponsibly as a younger person, like in my own private domain, like, I don't do that. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to have to, like, it's not about the hangover. It's not about driving. It's you know, and like, to Tinkering Soul's point, there are so many other things, and that's a different argument, but like, I get it. But just for the sake of like how I want to feel versus like the end result, you know, and like when you're dealing with that, like, I don't want to deal with that. I want to be able to go in and be like, I had a few drinks, I had fun, and that the fun is over, and I'm good. I don't want to be like, oh my god, or, you know, bro, you're a man. Like, there could be the point of like, oh, I'm having so much fun, and like, guess what? Boom, bring a hot, beautiful lady home. You know, you're talking, you're hitting it off, and you're like, yo, my stuff ain't working because I drank too much. You know, but had you have responsibly stopped, you know, and now it's embarrassing, right? Because she was responsible. She stopped. You're still doing shots.
That's a gamble.
She cut off, but it shouldn't be. Like, if you know your own body and you're in control of yourself, because we all are, then you don't have to get to that point. There's no reason to get there, you know. So, do you really want to?
Sometimes it just slips in. Like, you go to a wedding. You've been to a wedding. It goes wild. You can't just sit there and not have fun with them. Those are your friends.
The people that do that in front
of you.
Those people embarrass me.
Oh my god.
At 35, like, do better.
No, if I have a buddy and he needs to blow off some steam and he wants to go hard, I'm gonna drink with him and I'm gonna go hard. That's just how
I've done that for buddies where like they're doing too much.
You're a good friend.
And I'm like, hey man, like, I made you a whiskey sour. You're throwing it to the head. We're on the second one. It's been 10 minutes, and you just and you threw it to the head again. I'm like, I'm not gonna make a third for like another hour. If then, I'm like, I need you to drink some water and like, yeah, like, I can be boring. I can be dad. Like, look, I love like all different types of like alcohols, and I like having fun, but I like a responsible level of fun. You know, you're like, if I have a buddy that does all that, and then afterwards continues to drink and then gets in his car and he drives and he kills himself. Now I'm going to feel like I'm responsible at that point.
Well, yeah, if he shouldn't be driving.
Right, but like, I was a part of that. Like, right. He's in charge of himself, but like, I had a responsibility as a friend to be like, hey man, maybe don't do that.
Right, yeah, don't let him drive. You killed him then. That was you.
Well, I'm not gonna because I'm a good friend.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, like people think like, oh, you're a good friend if you let them get that far, and then you're feeding them water and bread on the floor like an animal. Like,
I don't even know if that works.
It actually doesn't. If you have the bread beforehand, it's slower to process, but like once it's been done, like the damage is done, homie. It's
it's so weird. I know that people have done it.
Yeah,
I don't think Liquid IV works either. Some people have done that.
Liquid IV actually does help a lot.
The day after or before? Because I heard you're supposed to do it before, during, and after.
Well, you are, but I mean, like, at any point when you have it, Liquid IV is like packed full of electrolytes.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, like, if you really wanted to help somebody, like, kind of get back faster, then, you know, have some Pedialytes on stock, you know, in stock or something.
Yeah, I don't like those. Those are nasty.
But again, like, you know, that's just me. Like, I'm not here to like judge people. Like, this is how I get down. You know, I have that level of respect for myself, anybody that's around me, you know what I mean? And if you're the kind of person that can't control yourself or, like, it becomes problematic, I'm just not going to drink with you anymore. And that's, you know what I mean? And I'm not bothered by my friends that don't drink. I'm like, it's perfectly fine. If anything, it's cool because, like, I'll just drink a little less or not at all, depending on the night and who I'm with. And I'm
right. I mean, you drinking shouldn't offend them, though.
And it doesn't, and it doesn't. You know, I think it would be offensive if I like kept going. You know, like, hey, Tino, we came to play a board game, or you know, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and you're making a lot of weird dragon noises, and I don't know,
kind of aggressive.
You know, and I'm just like, you don't know me, like that's crazy. That's wild.
It sounds like you're having fun though.
Well, the other thing though, so let's talk about like video games. Like this is actually one of the reasons. This is gonna sound really childish, but one of the reasons that like I stopped is like when you get to a point where like your text message and things are starting to slur. That's one thing, right? But me, being the introvert that I am, sometimes I used to like overdo it a little bit in my own dojo. And what would
Yeah.
happen is I'm playing a game that involves like critical thinking. And I'm just like effing up my game. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's Friday night. I'm really busy all Saturday and Sunday, so I'm like, yo, this is my time. And I'm like, I'm gonna loosen up. And what's that like monkey that's like going around the memes where it's like, oh no, like you know where you've just done something terrible.
That's everywhere now. I
Yeah,
love it.
I'm like going to play. It could be anything. Final Fantasy, Minecraft, God forbid, like an FPS game or something where you need to be.
Oh, you go. It goes downhill fast.
Yeah,
They're like, we gotta stop this.
right. There's a really big difference between, you know, again, I'm not even talking about serious stuff. I'm just talking about like gaming in itself. You know,
Yeah.
so if you're gonna play like a fun like a board game or a Cards Against Humanity or something, or you know even like something on a smaller scale like Fall Guys or something with your friends, make a little drinking game
Right.
out of it. Like do it. Like have fun. You know, at your own pace, whatever works. But like for something a little bit more serious, like bro, I can't play Final Fantasy. They're telling me a story where I would normally be crying, but like I'm brain dead emotionally, and I'm like, what did you
Right.
say? Like no.
You're just going through the motions because you can't get into the content. I get that. I mean, the drinking games we used to do is Madden, and it used to be with shots, and it used to be interceptions, touchdowns. It's been a while, but it used to be rules like that, and it used to be fun. And after a couple games, you'd feel pretty good, and then you'd stop playing. We used to do it with wrestling too, WWE. We would do like 3 matches, best 2 out of 3 at random, so you wouldn't always get your character, and just that ways to put drinking into our gaming nights when we got older. And it was fun because you weren't just drinking to drink. Everyone gets together and at somebody's house that has like bad parents, and you just sit there and drink. Like now we just like, all right, we go in a room, we get a bottle of something, or we get a couple beers, and we make a drinking game out of it, and we got to game and drink. So it's like gaming and drinking is pretty fun. I wish I could still do it, but online it's a little bit different. It's not the same.
Fair enough. I mean that's the thing that I use because I'm connecting with people that are a little further away. So like we both can be
Right.
kind of loosening up. But like all these like weird negatives and personal preferences and things aside, how do you feel about like breweries and stuff? Because some of like the most fun places that I found out here, they're breweries and they like cater to like nerds. It's really weird. Like where they step on the line of like almost being like a coffee house or a restaurant, and
Well,
then
I know you're a craft beer fella, right? You
yeah,
like
those
trying new stuff.
yeah, it can be like just a lot of fun, good conversation. There's a lot of like places that are really well known for like burgers or maybe like Mexican food out here.
Yeah.
And again, there's like also nerdier places where it's as if you're going to a coffee shop with like the hipsters. There's people like studying and like working on just like I don't know like work screenplays, but like they're at like a brewery. It's so unique, but awesome. And like
I
that.
do. I like trying new drinks of all kind. Any new alcohol you got, I'll try it. Craft beer is usually very hoppy, and I like that. I mean, I live not too far from a good brewery place, and they always have new food. They always have new drinks. I like trying like the new hotness. I'm absolutely in there when it happens.
Okay, no, I mean that's
Yeah.
cool. I can respect that, and it's I don't know if the chat has any like preferences on breweries or anything, or your guys is I mean I don't know, maybe some of you guys are like into wineries. I know Tinker and Soul, she said she doesn't really do that, but like what kind of stuff do you like when you go to those places? Just out of curiosity. Drake, what's up? Welcome to the chat. I know Mike said he doesn't drink. Nia, what are some of your preferences? So like for me, talking about like more of like your harder liquors,
Yeah.
my go-to favorites, and this probably won't come as a surprise if you know me, but when it comes to like craft breweries, I would say some of the darker things, the heavier things.
You brought
like,
over a chocolate one that was pretty good. When you came over to my house that one time, you brought me a couple. And I
yeah,
was like, man, this is strong. And then I was like, this is pretty good. And they were expensive. I know they were expensive.
yeah. I tend to like things that have more of like the chocolate and vanilla like tones to them. When it comes to like liquor, I'm definitely a bourbon and whiskey guy.
Yeah.
I'll do anything. I don't like to mix them. Like there's nothing I really won't do. I'm not a big Scotch fan personally. Like Scotch
Nah,
is,
me neither.
I think Scotch is
It's
a little overrated.
Scotch and vodka, I don't really care. You know, I'll drink it, but I'm not gonna go out of my way for it.
Yeah, I mean that's totally fair. You know, when it comes to like the beers, stouts are definitely a big one for me. Nerd of Many Faces, whiskey, a Guinness. So like I like Guinness, but Guinness to me is like kind of like a watered down version of what I would get from like a a brewery. I think there's like way better
Guinness is still
options.
pretty heavy. Guinness, Yinglings, those are heavy beers.
Well, so like the Guinness like nitros are pretty good, but again,
Uh huh.
um, I just think that there are much better options that are less known. You know what I mean? It's like that. Like that's a
Yeah.
thing. So it's like if I'm going someplace, and like it's a place that just has no culture, we'll say, and they're like, okay, buddy, I got Miller Lite. Look, I'm either drinking water or maybe Guinness if you have it as an option, if it's, depending on the situation or whatever. But like Guinness in line with almost anything else that's like cut from the same cloth, like I'm gonna try the other thing over
Right.
Guinness. Like, Guinness.
Dietrich has a good point to where he says beer gives me too much bloat. I feel that, I know that, and he also says non-liquor though I prefer hot sake. Now I've had hot sake and it was pretty good, but when he said hot sake, I take my shots warm
We're
because
supposed to.
yeah, you're supposed to.
You're supposed
Exactly,
to,
because
yeah.
that's how it was intended. If you watch Boardwalk Empire or any old-time show like that where they're doing business, they have a table with glasses and a bottle and there's no ice. And when they drink it straight, it goes down smooth. When you put rocks in there, you spike it. So it's kind of harder to drink.
Well, you know what I like about sake, and like I don't know if this is like fully true in like Asian culture, but in any place that I've gone where they serve it, I like that it feels like you're kind of bringing people together, like the way that it's served and just like prepared. You know what I mean? There's like
Yeah.
a togetherness that you
It's
don't
always a good time. Yeah, I
that you
agree.
don't get. And like I'm sure that there's places and people that drink it to get drunk, but like in the sense of like just like bonding and like sharing a drink. It kind of reminds me of like the scene in like One Piece where they all like do like a shot of like sake together to like
Yeah.
solidify that they're brothers. It just has this wholesomeness to it in the way that it's done that you don't see, that at least I've never seen in any other situation. So like that's like the cool part. Like outside of that, I'm not a big sake guy. Like I don't like serve it at my house. Like say there's some stuff I like, some stuff that I don't. But circumstantially, that's a thing that I think is kind
Right,
of fun.
hibachis. I think it's good after dinner. That's where I've had it. I've never had it beyond that, but I love it. It's like one of my favorite parts.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I can get behind that.
So you were talking about your favorite drinks is craft beer. Uh, Zombie Dust has always been a favorite of mine.
Oh, we don't even
And
have that out here. But before we move along, but we're gonna lose like Tinker and Souls thing. I just want to say
go ahead,
read her
What she
thing.
had?
She said, "At the moment, I do not drink, but when I was into fruity ones and whiskey and bourbon." Okay, so it's like it's interesting. I always like to hear sort of like what people's like preference is, because like it can switch up so much. I know some people are just like cognac only. I'm like, really? Like only?
Cognac. That's all I drink.
I'm like,
Hennessy is the second.
right, E&G, call it a day. I'm like, okay. I mean, if I'm not here to judge. I just that's.
But when she says fruity drinks, I like trying new stuff. Like the first time I had like a Starburst, whatever, or Vegas Bomb, I'm like, oh, this looks cool. Let me try it.
Those
That
are
was
fun.
cool.
Those are fun.
And then I have the worst hangover of all time because of
they'll
the
sneak,
sugar.
they'll sneak on you. Yeah, the sugar will get you. Like I remember, for some reason, like cosmopolitans were like a weird thing to have. Bro, have you ever had a cosmopolitan?
No, I don't think so.
They are phenomenal.
Yeah?
Oh
I
yeah.
believe it.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Like they're so good. I'm like honestly, if it wasn't for all the sugar and stuff, like it'd probably be like a go-to thing for me. Out of something that's outside of my norm. But for me, sort of like coffee, when it comes to like whiskeys and bourbons, I really have come to enjoy like the base alcohol. Like I'm not saying like I have to have it, but like I can drink it and enjoy it for what it is. That's an acquired taste. Same with coffee.
Yeah.
I can drink coffee black, and this happened to me when I used to be a barista at Starbucks. Is they would have you drink like different coffees, blondes, different like medium roasts and dark roasts, and you would learn how it sits on the palate of your tongue, what region of the world those beans come from, what they pair with the best, and it really started to develop this like better taste. And in order to really get a feel, you kind of have to take all the other crap out of it to you really taste the base and appreciate it. And
Okay.
now that I do, when it comes to coffee, like I'll mix and add stuff sometimes, but I don't. Like before that, I used to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, it would be like a half a cup of coffee and half a cup of creamer. You know what I mean? Like I was killing it. killing the flavor, killing the taste. So now I really enjoy that. So when it comes to bourbons and whiskeys, I think one of the reasons that I like them so much is that I like to be able to taste, those, things that went into making it versus trying to, mask it with other stuff. So again, I don't have a problem with cosmopolitans and, blue motherfuckers and all these other crazy drinks,
no problem.
incredible Hulks.
Lemon drops were like, I never had one before. I known them for years, and I had one lemon drop shot, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
I could probably drink 100 of those and die here right now.
Yeah, they can definitely be fun, but just for me, I prefer things like that. And the other thing that I like is alcohol has that like bitter, like kind of a bite to it. And I like that it does because it causes sort of like self-control a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I want to have it and have that. Okay, gotcha. If you can chug it like Kool-Aid, that to me feels like irresponsibly dangerous. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be able to chug it.
Right. Die Drake has a pretty good comment, but before we move on, you said that alcohol has a little bite to it so you don't drink as much. I made a joke today on how the reason why Mexicans have their food so spicy is so they don't eat as much and they're able to go to work faster.
So, you know what? It makes me shovel food in my mouth faster. I love spicy food. Like if it,
there are people dude, you're a sweets monster too.
I don't think that serves a place in this podcast right now.
I want to attack.
I think that was last week's podcast with the dieting and some emotional things that I went through, which is why I have
put sugar in front of you. You become a monster. You become mean.
Yeah, you gotta keep sugar away from me.
But Die Drake says, do you guys ever deal with the whole certain liquor makes you angry? I've always heard people say that. I've never experienced it myself. I would say certain liquor makes me feel better, and that may come off as anger. I become more passionate, but I think like if you're an angry person, I think all liquor is gonna make you angry. To be honest, if you drink enough of it.
So for me, the way that I consume alcohol now, where I just get like a light buzz going, and I'm like whatever.
Ugh.
In no way does it affect like me in any form or fashion, like emotionally. Like I don't get charged in any type of way.
You don't go up or down?
No, I mean like I just
feel good or bad.
It's like it's just a little bit, and I'm just like I feel relaxed, like just a little bit,
okay.
Like I my core personality comes out where it's just like I just want to have fun. I want to be able to still think clearly, and just kind of like loosens things up if you're having like a little bit, right? But when I was younger, and I would like really I'm like everything's dizzy, and like you barely know who you are, and you're like it's not that your inner self is coming out. It's I think in all of us, before we open up our mouth, our inner self, it's like a firewall. Sorry, let me get into my IT nerd stuff. Before it gets through, it stops, and like you kind of have a conversation with inner you, and you're like, is that a thing I should be saying out loud? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like that's not me. Let's gonna roll that one back. But when you drink too much, it's almost like that filter is gone, right? So that half a second where you're like, am I reading the room? Like it's gone. So you're just like saying things and going off like vibes and energy. And I think, again, just my take on it, but depending on who you're around, where you're with, your emotional state beforehand, any alcohol that you drink, once you get to that point, there's a lot of factors involved, and it can start making you act a certain type of way. And that's something that's you can't blame that on liquor. Like that's a you problem. That means you drank too much, and maybe you need therapy.
Yeah, I just see it as an amplifier. Like if you're happy, you're gonna be happier. If you're having some trouble, those troubles are gonna expand. If something happens while you're drinking, and this is probably what Die Drake was talking about. These people telling him, like, if you're drinking bad, you found out your girl cheated on you or your guy cheated on you, whatever, that you're gonna connect that to the liquor you're drinking. So that's why so many fights happen while you're drinking. It's because everything goes to 10. If you have a problem at a grocery store, you're probably not going to be fighting. It's just no big deal. You have a problem at a bar, you're probably going to be fighting because everyone is just so amplified. So if you got an angry person, I do think
it's not even that though. Like I think again, so that like little voice isn't there. So like for me, I'm not gonna go and pick a fight with anybody. You know what I mean? Like that's not why I'm here. I came
Well,
here
you get more confidence when you drink.
I wouldn't
so
even.
Everything's going to be a 10.
I wouldn't say that it's that I get more confidence, but I may not take the time to think a situation through. So that's those couple of seconds. So what I'm saying is, if you do bring somebody around who's basically a jackass when he's sober, and you decide to pump alcohol into him, and now you're getting to see the real him, and he's so great.
Yeah, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, and if he's being offensive to me or being offensive to somebody that I care about, like normal me might whisper to that person like, hey, you know what, so and so's acting like a jerk, why don't we just get out of here, like not a good vibe, let's just leave him. But me without that filter might be like, I'm sorry, but what the hell did you just say to my buddy? You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of me that
you. Everyone's going to get worked up like
right,
that.
a lot of people can, but like the common denominator here though is that there's one person who has no emotional control. They can't control their liquor. They can't control their mouth, and that's a person that, in general, you just don't need to have around. They're probably unpleasant in a lot of ways before alcohol even became a thing.
100% agree on that.
You know, so I
Get
just
rid of them.
Right,
Send them back to school.
Yeah, I think it's unfair to like necessarily pin that because that's like people that are like, baby, the only reason I cheated was because I had so much alcohol. No. You got in your car, you drove to the place, you called the person days in advance and told them that you wanted to get together, and you knew that there was a little bit of a spark there, and then you drank enough alcohol to use that as an excuse to have sex and then break my heart. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
alcohol never did that. Alcohol was sitting on a shelf. You were just a shitty person and you needed an excuse. And that's the same thing when it comes to arguments, when it comes to fighting, when it comes to so many different things.
The same thing with money too. They say money changes people, and it doesn't. It just amplifies the person you already are. It's the same with alcohol. Like, you know, if this person is trash, don't bring them out with you to drink, because guess what? The trash is gonna pile up. So
that's a funny argument that you say about money too. That reminds me, there's like a study that shows that most people who are in like that were in like an insane financial bind, 1,000% due to their own thinking and planning and whatever. Like they put themselves in the hole. They're like, it's the world, and then they win the lottery, and then like 2 years pass and they're broke again. You know what I mean?
Well, me and you know that money doesn't fix your money troubles.
No, so I mean, like, money can put you in a like. Look, bad things happen to good people all the time. Like that's just life. It's not even bad. Bad is an emotion we tie to it. Like shit happens, and do with it what you will. Like you know what I mean. Sometimes we take a lot of L's. It can be a negative snowball effect.
And it happens to everybody. Nobody's special.
To everyone. But there, like, if you're the kind of person who's been in the hole your whole life and you win like $3 million and after a year or two you're broke again.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it's funny. I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad right now, but at that point, like, who are we blaming? The world? You know what I mean? You had every opportunity to buy something for longevity. You had every opportunity to invest, to get yourself out of the hole. And we all know that you didn't have $3 million worth of debt. You know, like, come on now, like initially. So yeah, that's again, that's just being like irresponsible, and putting the blame onto something else.
Yeah, alcohol, money, power, all those things just amplify you. But alcohol is what we're talking about right now. So I was thinking the other day when I seen you drink, I'm like, man, it's like he doesn't do this often, and you don't get that drunk that often.
No, I don't.
How yeah. So when you walked in the door, what did you do to alleviate your hangover? I want to know it, then I'll tell you what I do.
Well,
because I drink every weekend. I get blackout drunk every weekend. Just so you know. I got a lot of friends, and I have to go out and I have to see them. I have to eat cool food. I have to drink a lot of liquor, and I have to say goodbye to them at 3 a.m. That's just...
You and I are so different. It's insane. But
dude, I love it. It's so much fun.
You just like you never grew up. But here you are with children in a house for some reason.
That's so much fun.
Steve not here, ladies and gentlemen.
I love my friends.
So I didn't have a hangover because I drank enough water. I take vitamins. I have stuff with electrolytes in it, and I was completely fine. I did sleep in, and that was the plan initially because it was a Saturday.
How many hours you get?
I think I got like 8, which is a lot for me.
Hell yeah! There we go.
I woke up. I had a great day. I went back out again. When did you drink
the water? What was the water consumption? Give me a time.
Before I went to sleep. I mean, I had some, while I was there. But when I got back, I made sure to have like at least like another 32 ounces, and then woke up, had a little more, and I was just fine. The only thing that like I didn't like about this weekend is I had just enough to drink where one, your throat gets a little bit dry, but because of the music and everything, I'm like, oh hey, like you're going back and forth, and like today hit, and I'm like, man, like my throat was like kind of, you know what I mean? It was like kind of raspy. and I hadn't
There ain't
felt.
nothing wrong with that. You work a muscle, you're gonna be a little sore. It heals. No
Well,
big
if you
deal.
have some relaxing yogi tea like I have, with some of the Hawaiian honeys and a hint of lemon juice, it can coat the throat, you know, loosen up those vocal cords a little bit, and just de-stress yourself a little bit, you know.
You know, we were gonna do a podcast about alcohol. I'm drinking alcohol.
I really wanted to do one about tea, and he was like, "No."
I don't know nothing about tea. You get it from a leaf and sticks.
You're so uncultured.
That's all
Like
I know about it.
you. Oh my god, your very existence. I don't know why. Like we're friends.
And I had to fill this up an awful lot because I didn't want to get 2 cups during the show. So I filled it up like this, and then I just put the rest in there. You got to put a fresh lemon in there too. I don't got no lemons, unfortunately, but if you drink rum, cola, and a slice of lemon, dude, let me tell you, it's good.
So do you drink when you play like your video games regularly? I talked a little bit about things that I like to do. So it's like I might on a Friday night do editing for a few hours as far as like game design, and I may, like I said, I might make a whiskey sour, or I might make like an old fashioned with like some honey and some lemon to it or something like that. To unwind. But I'm curious.
No, never, not anymore. Like if I had friends over and we were doing some some couch games, some couch co-op, yeah, then that's different. But when I'm by myself, no, I drink energy drinks, water, Kool-Aid from upstairs. We got, mixer, Coke, I just don't like drinking at home. I never did. I'm not gonna like drink at home and then be like, I'm having a great time. That's just me. I gotta go somewhere else. I gotta go to a buddy's house. I gotta go to a bar. I gotta go to a restaurant, club, whatever. Just drinking at home, I just rather like, all right, I'll drink, Kool-Aid, and I'll game because that's fun to me because Kool-Aid tastes better.
Yeah, I think like the difference for me is, when I was younger, and I think, I don't mean to be fully disrespectful, but like a little bit, because like fuck you, but I feel like drinking shouldn't be like the primary focus for gathering, with people, like just my opinion. Like I don't mind it, I don't care, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I drink myself, but I just don't think that like it should be, because I feel like when drinking becomes the primary focus, you start to limit like, your options, what you can do, when you can do it, and like all that kind of stuff. So like for instance, like last year I visited home in Chicago, and I was like, hey, I talked to Steve and Jay, and I'm like, guys, let's go out, let's do a thing, and they immediately are like, let's go to the bar, and I'm like, pause. I'm only going to get to see you guys once this entire year. If you want to have a little bit to drink, I would rather go to Dave and Buster's, because I don't want drinking to be like the focus. You know what I mean?
There
Like,
was nothing you could have done about it. We're gonna have those drinks anyways.
which is fine, but like I had such a better time because we played games, we were like innately to me, I don't know if it's like ethnically, but I like was destroying you guys in the basketball game. Like I don't know, like it is what it is.
Well, ours wasn't working, you remember?
That's not true. I was just killing mine. Yours wasn't working
No,
because
Jay was shooting.
you weren't
and I
making you
remember
weren't
they were
making
keeping
any
the score.
you weren't making any baskets. Yeah, no, Jay wasn't making shots.
I
because-
wasn't making any baskets. He wasn't. They weren't. You got to ask him about that because they weren't registering his shots. But yeah, so we can use that as an example. We went to Dave and Buster's, which was awesome. We all had fun, and we had some drinks.
Well, yeah,
That's
but like
the same with everywhere else.
But no, so for me, the scenario would have been different. Like if we're sitting down, like yeah, we probably could have had a good conversation. But again, like I wanted to make it like a more exciting moment, and like I had a lot of fun like playing the games like with my friends. Like that.
Yeah.
For me, dynamically, that really changed
The
it.
drinks didn't hinder that. They didn't hinder it in the lightest.
No, I'm not saying that they did. I'm not saying that was an issue that we drank, but I'm saying that if drinking would have been the primary focus, like you go to a bar, I mean, yeah, maybe you'll get lucky and have a pool table or something, but 9 times out of 10, there's one that's crowded. What would have happened is it would have been us just sitting around, and then we're like, we're getting bored. Let's, more drinks. This, we went in, we grabbed, a couple drinks initially, then we went out onto the floor and we found games, and we made great memories, and it was just like a different situation. So I'm not against like going to a bar, but like something like that, like me visiting.
Well, you're a little prejudiced to the game of drink too, because drinks are never the center of doing something. So when you drink, you go to a cookout, you go to a birthday party.
You don't have to though. Like I mean,
you don't have to, but why wouldn't you? It's fun. It's fun.
Not always. Sometimes I got shit to do afterwards, bro. A cookout in the middle of the day, I might have plans afterwards where I shouldn't or can't. I mean, you could have work. There's so many situations where like it shouldn't be a thing.
I mean, if you got plans, like you got to do your hot yoga or your meditation or whatever it is you got to do.
Maybe
then,
I do.
That's different. That's different. But like if you're going out at night and we're going to David Buster's, we're going to have some food. We're gonna have a couple drinks because it's fucking fun, and then we're gonna play some games, and it's gonna be awesome. But while we were having those drinks, we were having fun. We were talking, we were cracking jokes. You know, everything was fun. And would it be as fun without those drinks? Sure. But was it more fun with those drinks? Maybe. I mean, if they weren't fun, people wouldn't get them.
I just feel like I got to agree to disagree with you, man.
Well, I think you're extra hateful on liquor because it's a popular thing. But I'm telling you,
I'm
everyone drinks liquor because it's fun, not because it tastes good.
I like the way you talk about it, like makes it seem like a little bit of an alcoholic. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah, I'm being real with you. Adults drink so much because it's fun.
The adults
now there are people.
The adults that you hang around drink so much though. That's what I'm saying.
I hang around with a lot of people.
There's like there's a middle ground where like it doesn't have to be all that. Like you started this podcast with like this is what it is, and if it's disrespectful, like who hurt you?
I didn't say it's disrespectful. I'm saying
to turn down a drink. You said we can roll the taste back. To turn down a drink, you said was disrespectful to the person that purchased it for you.
Shot.
Did you or did you not say that?
I said shot. Nobody said drink.
Why should it matter?
Because a shot is a gesture.
This sounds like a rule that you just made up. I don't see how buying a shot for somebody or a drink.
Don't buy another guy a drink. First of all, it's weird. You can buy a girl a drink if she asks for it, which is fine. But if you buy a group a shot,
that's getting weirdly sexist. This is Indiana talking. This isn't you.
Well, women. I don't know nothing about no women, but I'm telling you, if your boy buys you a shot, you should accept it. If you don't, it's disrespectful. What if they don't drink? They're at a bar, Mikey. Hello. We're live, by the way. Appreciate everyone dropping by. Drake says, sometimes I like to sit and just talk with my friends over a drink. I've been down and just good old talking. Dude, that's the best.
Can we get a shout out for Mikey Cool, please?
That is the best. Just sitting down with your buddies, drinking. You guys say stuff that's a little bit too intimate. Pause. And you guys become closer friends. Or maybe you fight. Let's talk about this. When you drink and you fight your friends, and then the next day you guys are better friends. It's happened to me more times than I can count.
So Mikey's like the fourth person in the comments to say I go to bars and don't drink.
Why are you guys going to bars? Don't you guys have parks by you or movie theaters? What are you guys doing to go into bars and not drinking? And I'm not talking about you're going to a restaurant. You're not getting drinks. It's not the same thing. This is a pub. Okay, you're supposed to drink.
There's
neon signs. Imagine a group of people going into a bar not drinking. I'm sure this business is booming.
Just like I told you the other day, the place that I went, more than half the people there were like literally there for the social environment to do karaoke, and if you wanted to drink, that was an option.
Yeah, if you don't drink, you're excluded from all this because you're not drinking. You know, if we were talking about flying a plane, you're not a pilot. Guess what? You're excluded because you don't drink. But the people that do drink that go to bars, this is what I'm talking about.
Fund me, LOL. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. What a dope name. I hope you're not a bot. I hope you're not.
That is a pretty good name.
Like that's a really good name. Like that's genius.
But that's what we're talking about. I know people like don't drink. They don't like to drink. They don't want to drink, and they go to bars. I'm obviously not saying, all right, you don't drink. Here's a shot. Take it. What are you doing here? No, I'm saying like if you do drink and someone gives you a shot, you should take it. Not like, all right, I got my own drink right here. I'm not going to take your shot, even though we're friends. It's ridiculous.
Thank you, Mikey, for that.
You're at a bar.
Yeah, I feel like the way you feel about this makes me concerned about you.
This is how it's been. This ain't news. I didn't invent these rules. This is how it's been. All these new people are coming in trying to change it. You go to a bar. Hey, you drink. Unless you're the D&D, unless you don't want to, you're going there just to be on your phone. I hope it's fun. But if you go to a bar and you drink with your friends, there's certain rules. There's decorum. We're in a society.
I've had nights because again, I enjoy drinking, but sometimes like I'm not in the mood, or maybe like for whatever reason. But I've had nights where I have met friends at the bar because that's a social thing, and I want to catch up. I want that social atmosphere, but I'm not gonna have anything that night. I'm like, yeah, I'll have water or like soda if it's an option, and maybe grab like some food if they happen to serve it. I might let my friends know beforehand, and they'll be like, cool, like we'll pick a place where we can still drink, but like they have food because you're not in the mood tonight. And I'm like, yeah, and if I feel different midway or by the end of the night, then maybe I'll have a drink, but that's not necessarily a thing that I want to do. Oh man, it was a bad guy. It was a bad guy.
Oh, it was? Dude, that's such a good name for a bot.
Oh, man, I knew it. I was like, please don't be, and it was.
Yeah, someone says I go by the old rules because I'm 35, and I'm old.
I'm
But these rules
35,
work.
and I think that they don't work. I think that that's a problem.
Well, you said it yourself. You're a metrosexual, so you're going with all these progressive fads and rules that I don't like. I don't think they're healthy. I don't think they're right.
The way that I want to just like punch you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Also, for anybody who's interested in following this podcast, like, that's where you can find it.
It just depends on the group of friends. Yes, make sure they're your friends. Except, Tino says that I'm sexist, but apparently, well, not apparently, obviously, the rules are different for women. Don't accept any drinks that you don't want to. That's just, that's common knowledge. I'm talking about dudes versus dudes, your friends. We do have a woman host on here, by the way, and when she comes up, she's going to have all those, female opinions that's going to trump whatever I think, because I don't have no opinion on women.
It just depends on friends in the group. So look, I'm not going to tell somebody like how to feel. You know what I mean? Like you do what you want to do and feel however you want to feel. But I do think that your perspective is a little bit narrow.
No.
It definitely sounds like you've got some daddy issues and we've got to talk about it.
No, I'm talking about, this goes for everything, and I want everyone to listen to when I say this. People figured out how to do things a long time ago, and when you start doing them wrong, you're going to have problems. You're going to run into problems. So when people figured out, all right, when you have dinner, you sit at a table with your family. You have a conversation. You wouldn't. What do you think's healthier? Sitting in front of the TV with your family, or sitting at a dinner table in the dining room with your family?
So, before I answer that, you come across as like a polite bully. Because
I'm not being a bully. I'm just not changing the rules.
I don't think that your intention is to be, but the way that you describe this, and who knows? I don't know if it's because you really feel passionately. I don't know if you just want to stir the pot that is me. It could be both. But
well, me and you are very different people, but I'm not changing the rules.
Sure, and like but there are no rules. It's not written anywhere. Like if somebody wants to go down with you, like you can respect that person. You know what I mean? Like so if they turn down a shot, like there's no law that like makes it bad. Like you got to just be like, okay, like just as you can interpret it as being disrespectful that you bought a shot for somebody. You know what I mean? Like I can take it as being very disrespectful. It's like no means no. I said I don't want it just because you bought it. Like it's not my fault that you don't fucking listen to what I had to say. You know what I mean? You're not going to put this off on me. I told you no.
Mikey Cool says, more times if someone offers me a shot, I just say I'm the D&D, and they're like, oh, okay, my bad. That's fine. If you want to be the D&D, that's more than perfectly fine. You don't have to drink. But if you're with a friend and they're out with you, there's certain things you have to do. If you don't feel like drinking, tell him. You guys can go to the movies. You guys can go for a hike. You guys can go to the gym. But if you're at the bar with your friend, they expect you to go with them into that drinking night. I don't think it's very polite that you're going to go there and be like, nah, I'm not taking a shot. Oh, okay, I guess I'll take it myself.
So,
I'm only having a beer, then I'm having a Sprite. All right, I guess I'll just have another beer by myself.
I mean, if we run a scenario, though, where, like, say we both go in, we both go to drink intentionally, but we have two different styles. You will just drink till you're plastered, apparently. I will have, enough until I feel kind of good and I'm fine, right? You buy another round of shots without consulting with me first. I am at my limit. I'm done.
Without asking for your permission.
Yeah, because I mean,
you another shot.
Yeah, so just because you spent money, like you're like, oh, I just assumed, and I'm like, I hear you. I mean, I'll even be empathetic. It's like, hey, I'm sorry that you did that, but like this was the end for me. Like I'm done because I feel like this shot would put me to a place that I don't want to be, and I'm done.
I'll take care of you.
I'm like, I guess you're doing two shots or handing it over to somebody in the bar looking for free liquor.
If you don't want to take the shot because it'll make you feel weird, like you can take that shot.
Drunk. The word is drunk.
Take care of you.
and I don't want to be drunk.
If you don't want to get drunk at a bar, your friends and your family will take care of you. I mean, I just don't understand why people are going to a bar and they're like, well, I'm gonna take it easy. And I'm like, well, if you're going for a couple drinks, that's different. But if you're with someone like me my friends that like to drink, and you're just going to have one drink and just sit there and not drink, guess what? Not only are you not going to have a good time, and people can say, oh, well, they must not be good friends. That's not the thing. You're not going to have a good time because everyone's drunk and you're not.
See, you're the worst kind of person to me. Like you're just like the kind of person that's like, oh, we're having a birthday party at Red Lobster, and it's just like, so
Haven't been to Red Lobster in a long time.
I don't really mess with seafood often. Granted, like I'm kind of trying it. I'm trying to get like used to it and do stuff, but like I don't really like eat seafood. But that being said, I would absolutely go. I would find something that like I do eat there. Everything on the menu is not necessarily seafood, and I would make the best of it because I enjoy the company of these people. They matter to me. I want to be, you know, a part of the festivities. Maybe I'll try something. Maybe I don't. Like either way, it's my choice.
Talking about alcohol.
But you're
Talking
the
about
kind of person that's
seafood
like,
and
wow.
biscuits.
You're the kind of person that's like, Tino is ruining the vibe here. We came here for shrimp. He's eating biscuits over there in the corner at Red Lobster. He's ruined the night. Like, cool.
You don't get more fun by eating shrimps.
I'm never talking to any of you guys tomorrow.
Completely different. You don't get more fun by eating shrimp and cheddar biscuits or whatever they got there.
That might be my
Unlimited shrimp.
That might be my move. Let's go to chat because there was a lot said that I think we glossed over.
Yeah, go
ahead. Most times read that from Mikey. My people know that I don't drink. I buy them shots. You haven't bought me any shots. Can we talk about that, sir?
They're probably expensive out there.
They're no more expensive than any other bar. It's just the rent out here. Yeah, the rent is where they get you. The rent and like maybe gas. I've gone to bars with friends and we don't drink. Okay, all right, got you. We were dancing on the dance floor and just having a good time. See, it's about vibes. It's that social atmosphere. Tinker and Soul's laughing. I don't really go out with people that drink just to get drunk. Right, which is, you know, as a choice. That kind of goes back to what we were saying a little bit earlier where, you know, I think there's some people that take it too far, and like as somebody who does enjoy bars, like I'm not about to go out there with somebody who's taking it too far just because it becomes messy, you know what I mean? I don't want to deal with an Uber and a Lyft because you couldn't pace yourself, like you know, and now be concerned about your safety. I'll pay for your
Uber.
I will,
Lyft.
but if you are putting yourself into that situation, like to me, that's irresponsible. Like it could happen. It could definitely be a thing that happens, and we got to get you home safety. We're friends.
You're a mean person then.
If it's something you do every time we go out, that's a pattern.
Yeah, but what if I don't do it all the time? You gonna give me an Uber?
No, I mean, like say we go to a wedding and something just kind of happens. Like I totally get it. Like you overdid it. You should have paced yourself. I'm gonna scold you, but right now my priority is taking care of my friend. But if it's something you do all the time, like look, I'm not your mother. You know, like it's not my responsibility because you can't take care of yourself. You know, and I don't want to have to deal with that. So for these reasons, like I'm out.
Well, yeah, not all the time you should, but you know, every now and then.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think that's to Mikey's point. You know, like somebody that's going to go out and they're just like, I don't care. I'm going to burn myself into the ground and make my problems everybody else's problem. Yeah, we're good, bro. We're good all the way over there. Read this comment. I don't think there's a right or wrong on this. Ultimately, people are responsible for their own decisions. I could agree with that. No one should feel they have to drink to go hang out at the bar. There was a time I didn't drink, but when I was out with friends, because I know they get out of hand, I try to be there for them. Okay, so that kind of lines up a little bit with what we were saying.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The last bar I went to, you were buying? That's probably right.
See, I hear these stories, Tino, that you get a little out of control, and you come out here drinking your teas.
That is not what he said.
Talking about what the rules are at a bar.
I used to throw bar parties with people and get them all free drinks, but everyone knew I don't drink. Says that's Mikey Cool making that statement.
Yeah, if you're not a drinker, I'm not necessarily, you know, don't go to a bar because I'm gonna get you drunk. That's not what I'm saying, obviously. And like, you know, I know there's different rules between men and women, but when I go out, they can't drink I don't think it's safe for women to drink as much as men do. And I think there's certain situations to where women shouldn't get as drunk as we do. But
that opens up the conversation to something totally different, though. It's not safe.
Yeah,
it's not safe.
But there's no argument there. You agree, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's
it's
women should be able to do the exact same thing that like men can. The reason that women can't is because of men.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
but still means they can't.
There's no buts. So the argument then comes over to it's an educational thing. Like you have to make women aware that men make shitty decisions. But the more important discussion here needs to be had that like, man, if you can't fucking control yourself without giving off rapey vibes, then this is not a place for you to be. Like you know what I mean? Like that's like that's the important thing here. You know what I mean? It's not that women need to be safer. Like yeah, we're telling them that, but like the real discussion is just like. Stop, you know, raise your boys better is what I'm saying. And
that's true, but that's a whole different problem.
And that's a different conversation. You're right. Like we don't got to get into that, but like since we're here on the podcast, like that's the thing that I think we should talk about briefly. Like men do better, women be safe because men need to do better. They do. That's a thing. And also, men that do well, make sure you hold your fellow men accountable. You know what I mean? Like you can be a good dude and have a friend that you didn't know was a complete piece of shit. Check his ass. Like
Yeah,
because
especially now that we're older, there's no problem with that.
yeah, if because if you're not checking them, I mean that's when you know what I mean. Then they know they can get away with it. Like and they no circumstances should they be able to. Sorry, I
So
didn't mean.
Tigger and Soul has a question. So Steve, Steve, you expect to drink or two with your friends when you go to the bar? Have a drink or two when I go to the bar with my friends. So here's what I do when I go to the bar. I go to the bar, I get something to eat, I get a beer, I get another beer, then I get a couple more beers, and then maybe somebody's buying shots. We don't always take shots. Whatever happens, happens. Another beer, and then my wife picks me up, or I Uber home, and then I wake up and everything's fine. And everybody does that the same way when I go there. Now, if I was to buy everyone a shot, which sometimes I do, because I do okay, everyone takes it. We cheers. We put it down. Everyone smiles. We don't close the bars down. Like 4 beers is a lot. I guess it is. I don't know, but we don't close the bar down. We go home about 12 or 1. We're not that young no more. So it's very rare when I said at the beginning of the show, like I get blackout drunk. I can get blackout drunk every week, but that just doesn't work out. People go home. People have stuff to do in the morning. They got kids. They got jobs. All right, well, everyone's going home. I guess that's it. We had fun. I'll go home. I'll watch some shows. I've been watching that anime dungeon food thing. That's been awesome.
That is a pretty good one. Yeah, Mikey's been watching that, and I started it. But I got to restart it.
Yeah, it's been very good. But like when I have these rules are what I grew up with, and these rules are probably the best way to enjoy yourself at a bar. And there's people that are gonna fight, throw up.
In your opinion.
In my opinion, these are the best rules at the bar. And people are going to fight. People are going to throw up. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do.
That's that Midwest in you, homie, because like it's the crowds that you run with, and the people that you surround yourself with.
If you got 5 people that are going to a bar and they're all drinking a beer, then ordering a water, drinking a beer, then ordering a water, everyone's going to be on their phones. Nobody's going to be doing nothing, and everyone's going to want to leave at 11 right after dinner. I guarantee you.
So here's like, no, again, so that's a Midwest thing. So like out here, and I don't know.
You're a Midwestern.
Not anymore. Fuck that. I'm good. I've been saved. But like
Yeah,
a lot of breweries out here, for instance, and a lot of like bar restaurants are really family oriented. So you never see that. You never see people that get out of hand. And why? Because all of a sudden, when there's children around, because there are literally children running around in these places. They have some of them have like playgrounds and fire pits and stuff. Like, people hold themselves to another standard. And what I'm saying is like, if you can do it here, you can do it anywhere, right? Like, there shouldn't have to be children present for you to act right. You know what I mean? So people go, they socialize, they have a few drinks, and they check out when it's time. They're not Ubering and embarrassing themselves and making a whole dramatic story, and they're still having a great time. So it can be done. It's a choice, is what I'm saying. So if you choose to, like, hang out, like, in those circles and stuff, and I've been there, I've seen it, and I don't associate with those types of people, like, that's totally fine. It's one way to do it. I think you have found a way to cope and adapt with that situation, and it works for you. So I'm not going to take that from you. You know what I mean? But that's a very different style of doing things. All I'm saying is there's also this other way that doesn't...
Coping with what? I'm going out to talk with my friends with loud music and have a lot of drinks and feel good. That's it. There ain't no ifs or whats about it. I'm not worried about my health because I'm drinking. I'm not worried about my sugar intake because I'm drinking. I'm not worried about what I got to do tomorrow because I'm off. I don't work in the morning.
I think there's a deeper conversation that could be had.
Ugh, no,
I think if that's where you're at, I think there's a deeper conversation that could be had.
That's not a thing, dude. It's just fun. Steve, you mentioned you have kids, right? Will these rules be something you teach them? I do have a son, and when he's old enough, these are the kind of rules, because there's nothing wrong with these rules, understanding. Like, the thing is, when Tino's like, hey, I have rights, I'm not going to do that, I'm my own person. Yeah, that's fine. But if you're out in the bar, he doesn't have to drink. He doesn't have to do none of this stuff.
Okay.
But if he does, and he has friends that they do that, I'll drop him off, I'll pick him up. His sister will drop him off and pick him up. But, like, I don't want him to be like, all right, yeah, I think if all 5 of his friends drink and he's the only one getting water, they're probably not going to be his friends for long.
I'd like to roll the tapes back for a second here. Tinkering Soul asked you a question. She said, Steve, you mentioned that you have kids, plural, right? You responded, you said, I have a son. This is what I will teach him. What will you teach your daughter and why? And why is there a difference?
Well, I said before that women are at a whole different set of rules. And if she does, she's going to have to drink responsibly. She's going to have to drink around a lot of her friends. I don't think women should be taking shots. I don't think women should be drinking a lot. And you say, well, women should be able to do whatever they want. We don't live in that world.
Right.
And you already said because of men.
Which is true. So, I mean, I guess, and this is maybe like sidestepping a little bit, but does that mean, and I would hope, that you're going to have the discussion with your son that he needs to be, you know what I mean? Like, that you have to explain to him why things are different and the kind of person he needs to be to have these women feel safe? Because
every conversation we have with our kids is not only are they old enough, but something usually happens in the news or they mention it at school. It's all about reference, and the only way to make a good human being is family and education. And there are exceptions, that's fine, but for my son and what we teach him as a team, it's going to be all the things that are going to keep him and other people safe. But when we talk about, let's bring it back to, what I think should be the correct way men should drink with each other. This is something completely recreational. This shouldn't be anyone's personality. If it is, they're losers.
No, I hear you in that section, and I feel like you kind of did a little spin sidestep. I don't know if it was necessarily intentionally, but what I'm saying is like, are you instilling him, a little bit of that like accountability that it's like, hey, like someone like, for instance, someone like your sister in the wrong type of like male company could be in danger. And as a man, he has a responsibility to kind of like how we said earlier, you know what I mean? Like check his friends and don't be that kind of person. You know what I mean?
Well, usually girls are smarter. You don't got to worry about that. And I'm talking about a teenage daughter compared to
but
a boy.
Forget her for a second. I'm saying like you're making sure to let him know, like the kind of situation where it's like, hey man, if you're here, around a young, like obviously he's too young for this right now, but I'm hoping that your intention is like, hey man, if you're in a situation with a young lady and you're both drinking, like, I mean, that's not really a thing. You know what I mean? Like no means no, like, like all that kind of like thing.
Well, yeah,
I think it's basic shit, but I just want to make sure. I just wanted to hear you say it.
That's a good question. Even though he's only 9.
Yeah, way too young, but for the future, like I'm saying.
Yeah, and not only is he going to hear it from me, but he has a mother who's very responsible. He has a sister who's very responsible, very smart, the both of them. I'm going to teach him to be strong, to be smart. I'm going to tell him, one of the most important things I'm going to tell him is you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's what being a man is. And one of those things is doing the right thing. Like you said, if one of his friends aren't acting right, you got to call the foul.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's just the thing, because that's something that I think I've seen growing up, where there's a lot of young men that don't have that instilled in them.
Well, they don't have a father, or they don't have a complete family.
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes it's just bad parenting. Sometimes it's pure pressures. It's where they're afraid to speak up and have that altercation. But I'm just saying it's important to instill those rules, into the future. So like that's how we make a better future, right?
Well, that's why I forget where I heard it too. I wish I remembered. The only way to make a good human being is family and education. And if the kid does go off a path, the school will let the parents know. If the kid goes off a path at home, the parents will let the school know. The education and the family work together to make this good human being that's going to function in society the right way. That's the best way to do it. And that's the way it's been working so far, at least with me and my kids. So the older my son gets, as long as he's in school, as long as he's in sports, as long as he surrounds himself with good people, as long as his parents are together, knock on wood, he's not going to be one to take advantage of a girl. He's going to be one to protect her. He's going to be big. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be strong, and he's going to be smart, because all of those things are being seeded in right now. So your original question was, what am I going to teach my son about this?
All right, Dad Drake, thank you for stopping in. Have a good night, man. Hope to see you soon.
Later, Drake. Thank you for dropping by. We are live, by the way. But before we stop this, what am I going to teach my son from what I said in this podcast? what I said in this podcast wasn't destructive. It's only destructive to people that don't want it. He's going to be at the bar with his friends that hopefully do want it.
Maybe he won't even want to have drinks. You know?
Maybe he won't. And it won't be a problem, and that's perfectly fine. If he never wants to step foot in the bar, hey, that's fine. Liquor doesn't taste good. Like, it's disgusting. Like I said, Kool-Aid tastes way better. But if he does, I don't want him to, be too entitled. There's a responsibility you have with your friends. Sometimes they need you to go all out with them, and it means the world to them. And that's a responsibility I think people should take seriously.
Woo, the way we disagreed on today's podcast. So
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a show where, we're both coming from honest places. And
Thank you, Tinkering Soul.
I'm not trying to be correct here, and I don't think that Steve necessarily is either. I think we're just, kind of passionate in our,
it's just preferences.
Our beliefs, preferences, yeah. So it's just like, hey, it's at the end of the day, like it's your life and it's mine, and like in the ways that they overlap, like they do. But I think it's just having a heart to heart, and I think that there are people that will agree with me, and there are people that will agree with you. Like, it just kind of like is what it is. That's why we have options.
I like it.
Stuff.
I like these topics that we can split it right down the middle. I love the fights. I love the back and forth because we got it from both sides right now. Especially for people that don't drink alcohol. Maybe somebody drinks too much alcohol, and now I feel like a loser.
I'm emotionally charged exiting this podcast. I'm probably just, I'm gonna have to make an old fashioned, like I cool down and edit this podcast episode. I might block you tomorrow morning. I'm not really sure. It just kind of depends how I'm feeling.
You can ban me on your stream too. Yeah, that's the only drink I'm having. Then I'm doing something else because I'm watching TV. I don't need to drink.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's I didn't really know how this subject matter would go tonight, so it's just interesting sort of the path it took. I'm really glad that we decided to do this one live though, because we had so many different thoughts and personalities that were kind of like firing off throughout the evening. People were standing on business, whatever side it was on, and I think you guys really helped add like a unique twist. You made it a lot more interesting today, so it's something not all the time, but maybe a couple times a month we'll do a little bit more often, bring you guys in on it if you enjoyed it. If you did. Hey Lion, what's going on? Can we get a shout out
Lion, what's happening, brother?
For Lionheart? You guys got to check that guy out when you get a moment. But yeah, I mean, I would love to hear like some of your thoughts. I mean, if you want to talk about like the nitty gritty, and choose sides and all that kind of stuff, I mean, by all means, do what you got to do. But yeah, I mean, did you guys like this kind of a setup? Was this sort of like a fun, different type of discussion? This is more fun than Batman versus Superman sometimes. We've been doing that for a decade, so now we can really, I can insult him personally. I'm like, your beliefs are wrong, and like that's a whole different type of energy.
Yeah, and like I respect everything that you do. It's all working to an extent, and everything I've done everything wrong, and everything right got me one step up to where I needed to be in life. So
I wouldn't even say that what you do is like wrong. Like in my opinion, I think we just kind of roll with like different types of crowds, respectfully. I prefer to be around people who have like a little bit more, like emotional intelligence. People that are more like office dwellers and stuff like that. Maybe you could say liberal. Like I don't know. There's so many different ways to like describe it, but it's just a different type of crowd and energy. And when I used to hang around people that were more with what the crowds that you hang out with and some of the things you're describing, when I used to do that kind of stuff, I noticed like that was when I worked more like warehouse jobs. I did more like blue collar stuff. And I think that this is one of those things that people don't talk about a lot, but this is where like at like core values like start to change, and they're like a little bit different. Because what I will say is that when I did do more of the stuff that like you did at the time, it didn't feel like ick to me. You know what I mean? Like it was just regular life.
Right.
Like that's what I did. It made sense. I'm like, yeah, Uber, Lyft home, whatever. But like now that I'm on this other side of the fence, I look at the way that I used to do things, and like, from my perspective, it feels like a sense of like maturity. But I can totally see where from your end, it seems like I'm doing too much, or you know what I mean? Like I'm too uptight. Like I get it. Like you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm going to respect that even if I don't agree. Like,
yeah. And I mean, the only reason I do it is because it's fun and it feels good. That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't even really make statements like that, but I mean, if you're happy,
I'm being completely bare bones.
If you're happy, if you're safe, if the people around you are safe and you're not hurting anybody, then I don't really like I'm not gonna lose sleep and like try to change your perspective or anything. Like you
Right.
said what you got to say, I said what I had to say, and I think that there's some level of understanding that we can have there, even if we don't agree.
Right.
But I am curious to see what people think. But we are basically about at time, for the show. So I do think, like, we're not going to get immediately off Twitch, but we will, like, end the podcast. So, like, do you want to say the thing, or you want me to say the thing?
I appreciate everybody coming by to the live episode. Everyone that's downloading our show wherever you get your podcasts. We are on YouTube too. So for Steve and Tino, this is the Critical Hits Podcast. Tell someone you love them. Take care.
All right. Have a good night. Stopping the recording now. Just kidding. Now.